Hi there, it's Ryan G. Wright with DoHardMoney.com, and the question of the day is, how much does it cost to get rid of mold in a house? And so the first thing I've got to say is anytime you talk about mold, everybody freaks out. It's like this buzzword that everybody worries about. And so what you're seeing a lot of people in the real estate industry, real estate agents, real estate investors referring to mold as is discoloration, because they don't want to put something in paper that it actually has mold or doesn't have mold. And there are experts, and in some cases you should consult with an expert. And I'm not a mold expert, but just to give you an idea on some experience, most mold that you're dealing with in a house is going to be mold that happens just from regular use of a house. So I'll give you some examples. You may find mold underneath the cabinets of a sink where there's been a little bit of a leaky faucet where it's been dripping a little bit. You're getting the water's coming down, it's seeping into the wood, and you're starting to get some discoloration or some mold. That type of stuff's pretty common. You're going to find it in most houses at some point. The other really common type of mold you're going to be dealing with is in a bathroom where you've got condensation that's coming up, where somebody doesn't have a fan or they don't have a window that's being used. You'll start to see some of that coming up and some discoloration or some minor molds in that. With that, it's typically not a huge deal. In those types of situations, I've heard a lot of real estate investors using bleach, lemon juice, and water. So it's 50% water, 25% lemon juice, and 25% bleach, and using that to spray it down, wipe it off, and then repainting or whatever the case is to make that look good. Now, if you're dealing with mold on a more significant level, there's a few things that you can do is actually get the house tested. The house I live in right now that I actually purchased it from a bank, and I was not the winning bid. They had multiple offers, and the first offer freaked out. They left the property because they were worried about, you guessed it, mold. And so what I did is I hired a mold expert to come and look at the property. What's really interesting is by the time he was done, he said there was more mold on the outside front steps than there is in the entire house combined, meaning we couldn't even see any mold on the front steps. And he's like, there's nothing to worry about with this property whatsoever. So it's something to take into consideration. The downside to this is there really isn't any type of inspection you can do to be like, is there mold in this property or not? It's typically line of sight where you're looking at it, unless you're using a condensation meter, which is basically saying how much moisture is there in the air. So these types of things can pop up and surprise you. In most cases, if it's just something where you've got a little bit of discoloration underneath the bathroom, or in a kitchen underneath the sink, those types of things, it's really nothing to be freaking out about. I've also walked into houses where I've seen mold all over in the basement. So one of the things you've got to keep in consideration is that sheetrock is basically food for mold. It just likes to eat it. And so you'll see that quite frequently. So I've been into places where they've actually cut off halfway up. If you look halfway up the drywall, they've actually just taken a razor and just cut it. And so you have the top part of the drywall, but the entire bottom section of the drywall has been cut out. So basically what they've done is said, where's the highest the mold has gone? Let's just take a knife and serrate that and then properly dispose of the materials afterwards so it doesn't get into anybody. Now, if somebody's doing that, they obviously need to be wearing respirators. They need to be wearing masks. But for most cases, for that small mold, you're not talking about a significant amount of money, a few $100s at most. And then if you're dealing with something that's more bigger, it's really great to get a professional that comes in, and it's just going to come down to how much we're really talking about. So I hope these things are helpful for you when it comes to mold. Don't be too scared about it unless it's major. If so, contact a professional. Hope this is helpful for you. Check us out at DoHardMoney.com. Make sure you subscribe, like, and leave a comment on our YouTube channel here if you want to see these videos continue, and make it a very profitable day.